Celebrity Stylist. Here we are with a fantastic stylist, Lisa Enos. So Lisa is our guest today. Lisa has exciting stories, and Lisa, I know she's fantastic at what she does. Her updo work is incredible. We've talked at length, and she's a wonderful light being that I think you're going to truly enjoy. So let's give a big round on applause while you're listening now. So I'm going to welcome Lisa. So just a little bit about Lisa here. I'll give you a little bit of background on here. She's been a hairstylist for 30 years. She's a salon owner, an educator specializing in long hair and upstyling, which is her passion. Creating the Facebook page Updo Mondays with Lisa and Upstyle Showcase. She's a mom with an amazing son and a military wife to an amazing husband who recently retired and is now supporting her and her career. She's also part of the Guru. Oh, here we go. Good thing this is radio.
Right.
Guru Village, and a part of the Canadian Beauty Alliance, which we're going to dive into much more while we're here. So I want to say welcome, Lisa, and if you want to say hi to the audience, and we can get rolling.
Hi, everyone.
So Lisa, we're just going to jump right into it. I want to say thank you for being part of the podcast, but we all have a story. So I'd really like to know kind of, who you are, how you became you, and, just let's dive in and let's know all about you.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So I grew up in a small town in Yuma, Arizona. It's a border town, and not much going on there except for a military base and agriculture. And I didn't know what I was going to do after high school. I just had no clue. Now, I had already had a talent or a confidence. I would cut my friend's hair, do their hair. I just always had a confidence that I could do it. If that, oh, you want your haircut? Okay, I could do it. And but I never thought about actually taking that and making a career out of it. But God always has a different plan, because my counselor I'd only met like once before in my whole 4 years of high school. She brought me in my senior year, and she goes, "So Lisa, what are you going to do with your life?" And I said, "I don't know. I guess I'll go to a community college. I don't know what I'm going to do." And she said, "Well, I have a scholarship to beauty school, and your name just came on my mind. And so how would you like to go to beauty school?" And I said, "Okay." And I thought to myself, well, I'll do that until I know what I want to do, So I went to school, and I fell in love with school. But when I went to school, I was like, what? I have to do chemistry and, anatomy. And, I was like, okay. But I fell in love with doing hair, and I had a natural talent to do it. I was always the first one who volunteered to do a haircut. I wasn't ever afraid to do it. I knew girls that I went to school with that, they would comb the hair 50 times before they would cut it, because they were so scared to cut somebody's hair and mess it up. But I was like, I'll do it. Let me do it, So I just always really had a drive or a thrive to want to, I didn't have either. I wasn't worried about failing, I didn't worry about messing up. Because I just think I'm learning, of course you're going to mess up, but I wasn't afraid to mess up.
Exactly. Did you find when you wanted to do hair that some people thought that being a hairstylist wasn't a real career? It's something to get you by until something better came along?
Well, I still have that, and I'm a salon owner.
Yeah, so if this hair thing doesn't work out, you can always trade some Bitcoins.
Well, I think people think it's not a real job, that you're just having fun. I don't think they think you're very smart sometimes when you do it for a career. I find that sometimes where people, think you should have went to college and do that kind of route. But, I think that God always gives us talent, and he gives us a passion and a drive to push us into a road that we need to go down on, and I think you're going to be the happiest when you actually do that, when you go that way. But yeah, I still kind of get that sometimes where, it's not it's not a real profession, you
No,
know?
and it's very tough. And I had the same thing too, growing up, being male, that sort of thing as well,
Yeah.
where uh, oh, we just have my video just went out. It's okay.
See
It's
your
radio,
picture
so you
though.
can't see me. I have the face for radio. So that's the thing with going live. We're doing it live right now, but it's having that thing where sometimes the equipment doesn't work, but it's still recording, which is fine.
Right.
But that's okay. We don't need to see me. So, but yeah, as I say, with doing the um, growing up, and say it's like, well, if you're doing hair, and even some clients have that thing that it's pretty much a low end job, but you
Right.
know, as a salon owner, how much work it takes. You're not just a hairstylist, you're a psychologist, you're an artist, you're a, you know what I mean? You listen to all their issues. I mean, you're talking about, you know, giving some gifts. If you're going trials and tribulations, you're going to be tested. Being a hairstylist, you're going to have every type of personality that you can imagine, that you can come across, that you have to, you know, win over. Because basically too, I believe with a lot of people, their how they look, you know, is a big part of their personality, and hair is a big personality, or a big part of their personality where that identifies them. So
Yes.
you can't, and especially with change, because people are like, I need something different, but can you keep it like this, and this, which is basically the same they already had. And then you
Right.
have to make it look like it's something new. But with yourself, you do more with updos, upstyling. So tell me a little bit more about that, how that part of hairstyling became your passion.
Well, you know, I do a broad spectrum. So I'm a cutter, a colorist, and an upstyling too. There was a point, it was the same kind of thing. I was never afraid to do it. And you know how some hairstylists, they get the hot sweats when prom time comes around.
Exactly.
They're like hiding in the back. They're like, I'm off that day. I don't want to do it.
That long hair's coming in, I'm
Yeah.
running.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
and they're
think.
just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But again, I was never afraid to do it.
Mhm.
So, but you know what? I always educated myself. I always took classes. I remember my salon owner, she would bring in a lot of education, and she actually brought in Martin Parsons into our salon.
Oh, amazing,
Yeah, so we
amazing. Yeah.
got to take a class from him, and I love him. He's great, you know, and I love the way he does hair, and he does it in a fun way where I think he takes the stress out of it. But I learned a lot from him. And there's a lot of people that I like to follow. Nadine Donovan, I think she's awesome.
Nadine, I think we all love,
Yeah,
love, love
love
Nadine.
her,
And
love
personally,
her. I took her
I,
class in Atlanta. I still take classes from everybody,
of
you know.
course,
I
of course,
love
and
Lorna Evans in
mhm,
Australia,
yeah.
and Sharon Blaine. One day, that's my
Oh,
dream
yes,
class,
yes,
is to take a class from her.
yeah,
So I always want to educate myself because I always want to be better than I was last year. You
exactly.
know, so I always want to move forward. I don't want to get stagnant, and I want to be able to do really pretty work.
Hmm.
And so, you know, that's I would also, when I traveled, when we moved a lot in the military, sometimes I wouldn't be somewhere long enough to actually work in a salon. So I would do bridal work. So I
Okay.
would hook up with a bridal dress shop in the area. They would have shows. I would do their models, and then we would do shows, and brides would come, and then I said, if you could just, you know, give out my name, so brides would contact me. So I would do bridal work. And then I worked for Armstrong McCall in Arizona, and I had a really amazing boss. I was a sales rep, but I asked her, will you let me do some updo classes? And that's where I actually started teaching. And she said,
Ah,
yeah, if you
yeah.
want to give some salons some updo classes. So she was great. She was a big supporter
Mhm.
of me to actually start to teach, because I love that too. I love that atmosphere of being in a classroom and people are learning, you know, and they're getting aha, and you
Yeah.
know, you're just feeding off of each other, and I love that environment. And I'm never afraid to talk in front of people. You know, when I was in kindergarten, all my reports said she talks too much. You know, she needs to be quiet. So, you know,
Yeah.
I was never afraid to be in front of a classroom or an audience or
No,
anything like that.
exactly. And you have the gift of the gab. That's the best way. And I understand, being myself an educator too, it's feeling the transformation. And when
Yeah.
you see the lights going off, and when you're creating something for someone, um, same with doing updo work, do you find that when someone comes, you follow a picture, or do you have something set in your mind, or as you're creating, your mind kind of turns off and then this piece of art comes out?
Yeah, so like I just got through doing prom. Every girl wanted a braid, you know. So they would give me an inspiration picture. And
Okay.
that's what I say. I go, this is a great inspiration picture because you might not have that length, you might not have that texture, you might not have the volume that it needs for that. I said, but we could do something very similar. And you know, when you have a picture, it's only one side.
Exactly.
So, you know, so you do have to be creative. So I like if I'm using a certain kind of braid in the front, I like to create that same texture in the back. So
Okay.
I like a cohesiveness in the work. But you know, if you're doing something, editorial something, you can go all kinds of
Oh,
texture.
exactly. Exactly.
But I like a cohesiveness.
Hmm.
So, but I take an inspiration. I kind of get the feel of what they're looking for.
Hmm.
But you have to tell them your professional opinion because face shape has a lot to do with it.
Hmm.
I'm not going to take a girl with a really round face and then put a center part on
No.
her. She is not going to look good. And I'm not going to give her all this volume on the side. You know, so I can gear them like, you know, you'd probably be really good with a really higher, you know, just crown if we, you know, put the updo high. And I tell them exactly why too, and they're really impressed when you tell them, well, your face shape is this way, so we can soften this or enhance this. And if you talk to a client like that, they really appreciate it because they're like, wow, nobody's ever told me that I have
No.
this face shape.
And I
Or
think that's the biggest, and I
yeah,
think that's the biggest thing of strong consultation. And it also empowers you as a stylist because you show that you know their face, you know the type of hair. You're saying, this is, I'm as an artist giving you the best. I don't want you leaving my salon with something now. If you, especially a round face, and they're going to go out with the sides to here, and now they look like a football,
right.
you know,
And
or they got
short
some.
and short,
Exactly.
you know. So,
Yeah.
but I also say you don't want to take a tall bride and then give her this really high bun on the top, and then in her picture, her groom looks like he's like a foot shorter, you know. So
Exactly.
there's those things that you have to think about, you know.
Yeah, I think it makes a big thing as well. So when you're doing your consultation, do you also talk about adding extensions or different accessories in as well?
Yeah, and I carry those. You
Oh,
know,
perfect.
I have them just in case I need them. If I need
Mhm.
extensions for volume or length, so I carry all different kinds of color.
Oh, okay, yes.
And then I mix them in the hair, so it's a nice blend. So it's not just like I have a ponytail, I wrap a thing
Yes.
around, you know.
Hmm.
But I really try to blend the hair in, so it's really camouflaged. But I carry bling, I carry all kinds of stuff, and I just can suggest, oh, this would look great with bling. I love bling in the hair, and then I'll put it in. And then usually they love it,
Hmm.
and then it's another upsell for you if you can sell it to them. And the hair
Exactly.
and the hair extension too, because you need to pay for that.
Hmm. Exactly. Do you find that you use any of the sort of vivid color as well, as far as an
Yeah.
extension, maybe a bridesmaid or somebody in the party, they're wearing a blue dress and they want just like a blue accent in, and or if they want the look of highlights, but they don't actually want to chemically lighten their hair?
I have to tell you that my client, I don't really have a vivid clientele.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, you could do that, especially some of these girls that want a pop of color. I mean, that would be easy, just clip it in and to do it. But my clientele has a really more of a natural hair color,
Oh,
but it would be definitely to say, especially if you're doing something really fun, just to, hey, let's just pop this color into your braid,
hmm,
you know, and
Yeah.
it would be really cool.
It's so nice and it's easy, and as I say, it's very
Mhm.
easy upsell for them. They get
Yep,
something, it's not permanent. All they have to do is pop it out when they're
pop it
done.
out.
They, get some crazy pictures, or people like, I'd like a pink stripe here, or I'd like this accent, or the same, just to have a nice, some ribbons of color just
Yes.
going through the braids, sort of thing. With your braids, do you do a lot more of the pulling out, more deconstructed braids? So,
Yes.
because I
Because
find a
I
lot of
think
them like it.
it brings a lot more drama
Hmm.
to the braid. And people are like, when you do a fishtail, but if you do it in a way that you're deconstructing it, people go, what'd you do? What kind of braid is that? How did you do that? And then, so I do that with 3-strand braids, 4-strand braids,
Hmm.
fishtail braids, box braids, because I
Hmm.
just think it adds so much more. And where people think it's complicated,
Exactly.
you
And
know?
and do you find when you're doing the braiding, do you find there's some good products that you really like that help control it, make it stay better? Because some people like a certain type of thing, just because if they have fuzzy ends or they want to control it, that's not too like sticky or wet. Do you have a favorite type of products that you use when you do your work?
Okay, well, to tell you the truth, I hardly like to use a lot of stuff in the hair.
Oh, good to know.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't. I like to use some kind of volume mousse, so I love a aquage. I'll
Hmm.
use it at the root, and
Okay.
then I just use finishing spray for the rest. Now, if it's somebody with really fine hair, I stay away from a lot of stuff, especially anything that has an oil or silicone
Yeah.
base, because it's just going to weigh down the hair.
Yes.
So I try to use as less. To me, less is more. I
Mhm.
think I get a prettier curl and everything. If I don't have a lot, it's not sticky. So I get a lot more out of my set if I don't use products, over.
Exactly, and that's a really good tip. That
Yeah,
less is more. That you don't always need a lot. So we'll
you
jump a little
don't.
bit. So can you tell me about Guru Village? What it is, what it's all about, how you're involved?
So Guru Village is an educational company that Dennis Gephardt started, and we have different educators. A color educator, Dennis, of course, is all about the science behind color. He does a lot of classes, foundation, formulation, master the disaster, which is corrective color. So he can tell you everything in a hair color, what the chemicals are, what they do. It's amazing. Um, and then we have a girl that she does a lot of different balayage techniques. We have a girl that does all kinds of customer service. She does, she does. It's called the Diamond Standard. It's really how to make
Oh wow.
your client's experience exceptional. And
Hmm.
then, so we do a lot. And then I do Updo education for them. And so we do a lot of online education. You can go to guruvillage.net and they have tons of online education. But we also are in the process of starting to travel and
Hmm.
actually do like in salon. But that's slow in coming, but it's working its way up. So
Yeah,
right
of
now,
course. But at
it's
least
a
it's
lot.
great if
Yeah.
it's online and people are
Yep.
able to see it, that they can get on, at least get some inspiration, and especially yourself, because you, with your Facebook page, you do normally Facebook Lives, or you also show every week. You're always on there with great tips, great ideas. I know I've learned a lot myself from you, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that do too, because a lot of us that are out there, I think we change a lot of lives without even knowing it. And then people run up to you, Lisa, Lisa, and you're like, who is this person? And they're like, I know you from Facebook. I know,
Right,
and
right.
especially too with the big show coming up in Orlando. I know there's going to be quite a few people
Yes.
there. And for me, I love it because it's like old home week.
Yep.
Everybody's there. You get to see everybody that, even if you haven't met personally, you know them from social media. You know them from, say, sending messages on Messenger, or talking online or on the phone, or things like that. But can you tell me a little bit about the Canadian Beauty Alliance?
Well, that's something that recently just developed, but they have partnered up with Guru Village
Hmm.
to do online training.
Oh,
Hopefully
okay.
someday we get to go to Canada to actually
That
do it in person,
that
you
would
know.
be that would be
But
amazing.
it's
Yes.
an amazing thing that they've teamed up together just to
Mhm.
promote education in Canada.
Yeah, and I think I mean, a lot of top salons, a lot of people here are always hungry for education.
Yep.
And it's not always about your basics. Sometimes you need to learn about customer service, how to run a front desk, how to upsell, how to, and make it, like, even say Updo is quick and easy, that you're not
Yep.
going to stress out. They can do something very simple and it's beautiful, but it doesn't take you a lot of effort, but it's so nice because I think for a lot of people too, the convenience, I think some people think that if they work too quick, they feel they're cheating the client. I
Right.
believe if you're more effective, you're saving that client time because, doing brides, or, I mean, they can be pretty stressed out and
Yes.
lots of things go on. But if you have it down, some brides don't do a trial. I recommend that you always have a bride do a
Oh
trial,
yeah.
because
Yes.
one thing that could be a disaster if, they're already stressed enough, they got lots of stuff going on, they have the bridal party with them. And I mean, I have my own bridal stories I could tell. My
Right.
bridal work has been fine, but just like literally stuff that happens, the bride is getting her hair done, they went to pick up the cake, the top layer flies right
Oh
off, and then
gosh.
it's like she has to deal with it. One, it's a sad story, her groom was in an accident that very day,
Oh, the
in the
day
morning,
of?
the day
Oh
of. Yeah,
gosh.
so you hear lots and lots and lots of stories. So if people wanted to take a class, do you do ongoing classes, or is most of your stuff the best to go to your Facebook page or follow you on Instagram? What's the best way if I was going to
Well,
take
I
a
do a
class from
lot of
you?
my Facebook training page is called the Easy Updo.
Okay.
And so I try, and that's where I do Updo Mondays. So I do a lot. I have probably 30 videos on there that is, they have a lot of tips, tricks, techniques that help make your work faster. You know,
Amazing.
so you can go there. But yeah, I do private classes. I do an online private class. You can also go through Guru Village to set up a class through them, or you can message me personally if you want to do an in-salon class. I do that. And the thing with the Easy Updo, you're talking about how to make your work more efficient. You know, when people come in, I think they don't even know where to start. You know, and I say it's like building a house. You know, an architect does not start building a house without a plan. So the way I break down in my class is I show you how to look at a picture, and then how would you section that out. You know, you have to, the more you know, the more you'll understand when you look at pictures how to do it. It's just a lot of practice. But the sectioning is key, because people get lost because they don't have any kind of plan when they go in, and they've got all this hair and they're just trying to pick it up, pin it, pick it up, pin it. But if you actually think about, you have to have architectural design in your mind. Like, I know I'm going to part this fringe out. I know I'm going to part the sides out so I can work with the back. When you do that, it makes your work really fast. You know, so it's always better to have a plan. Even if you have a picture, people send me pictures going, how would you do this? You know, and I said, okay, this is how I might section this out and start.
Mhm.
You know, people have different ways that they would do it, but at least you have a plan to do it. And that's what I do on my page, is I just try to give you different techniques and tips just to make that easier, you know, of
Mhm.
how to like get a Pinterest picture, and
Yes, exactly,
and
exactly.
how
And
to,
those are.
you know, deconstruct it, so dissect
Mhm.
it, so you actually know how to do it.
Mhm.
So you know, I do that. And you know, it's so rewarding because I get so many people who say, I was terrible at updos, and now because of your page, I am not afraid to do an updo. You know,
Mhm.
I know I know some basic updos I can do, and then I'm still practicing to get better. And it's really rewarding to
Oh, of
hear that.
course. Yeah, and where do you draw your inspiration from, or where do you find that you get your most inspiration from? So when you come up and you're doing your Monday video, kind of, do you just like come up there and whatever flows out, or do you have an idea in mind, or something impressed you, or just some other things you've seen and you incorporate it into your own sort of flow?
I come up with an idea and I practice
Ah,
before,
okay. Yeah. So you
before
and
I
your
do it on
mannequin are
video.
best friends. You know what I mean? And I the same. I've been doing hair for years, and I still have mannequins because
I
I
have,
think that's the best way.
yes,
Even if you don't do updos, learn stuff, try new things. If there's a
yep.
new color coming out, try it on your mannequin before you try it on somebody live.
I
You
have a
know?
whole room of mannequin heads from short hair to
Yes.
very long hair. But
Mhm,
no, you know what? I'll try a technique,
mhm.
and sometimes it'll take me 20 times to practice it. But I'm in front of the TV and I do it and then I take it down. And then I
Yes.
do it again and I
Mhm.
take it down. I do it again and I take it down. So I'm very comfortable with the technique. Now, sometimes I'll make stuff up, but
Mhm.
the good thing is a lot of them I have on video, so I remember what I did,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. Mhm.
So
But
that's
but
always key. Do that, you know,
yeah.
or get a head form
Yes.
and draw out your sectioning on
Mhm.
the head form and just keep them in a folder so that you know exactly what you did on that. And you can just draw a little picture of what the hairdo
Yes.
looked like, but you forget, you know what I mean? You get creative and you
Yeah.
forget what you did.
Of course, especially when you're doing stuff that's more intermingled or things like that,
Yes,
or this is going through that and that's scooped, and then you're like spraying this hair out this way, and then this is going
right.
under. I added a piece here to get the volume because a lot of people they see these styles and they're all lifted up, so they have the bump underneath or they have a piece underneath, and then the hair gets pinned into that, but it looks like it's all the hair, but yet it's just a net with some, you
Yeah.
know, a filling. If you want to make your own, it's very easy to make your own pieces. You
Oh
don't
yeah, I
always
do
have to
too.
go out and purchase them. The same with
No.
ornamentation, any of that kind of stuff. You
Hmm.
can be really creative or create something that you know, okay, this bridal party's coming in, they're all in blue. Let me get some crystals and put them on some pins and do this. So you get some nice little accents. You know,
The
there,
button store. The button store is awesome if you
yeah.
want to make your own bling. You get
Yeah.
beautiful buttons and you glue them onto a hairpin.
Yeah, and that's
So
wonderful.
yeah.
Another great way too, if you want, is actually fishing wire. You
Fishing
get
wire.
that, you
Yes.
spray it with spray glue, you add glitter to it, you can weave that through. It's
That's
amazing
cool.
for a little bit of a spark in the hair. It's great through blades and things like or the braids, just because it is flexible and you can move
Yes.
it around. And if you want to do different colors, you can do different colors, you can add, but it just gives you that, especially if they don't want a big piece in their hair, it's a nice way to have an accent running. You can also add ribbon, you can add, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much you
You
can
can
be
sew
really
with that.
creative. You could, yeah, the same
Yeah.
way. And I've actually sewn updos before, where you take
Yeah.
the thread and you actually sew through, and that keeps it, and it's pinless. There's no
Well,
pin.
you know, and it's got to be much more comfortable, I would
Of
think,
course,
for
because you
the
don't have
client.
them digging in and stuff like that. And I think the biggest challenge for stylists, if you have somebody who has a bob and they want to put it up, how do you make
Yes.
a bob, like say they have your length, which is like chin length or just past chin length, how do you put that hair up? Like, as I say, you need a great foundation, you need to start somewhere, but it's incredible what some of these artists out there are doing, you know, doing now. So I just
Yeah,
want
where they're actually doing a braid at the scalp and then
exactly.
pinning into that foundation, which that's awesome. When you're even
Hmm.
doing French twist, because you can put a braid down the center and actually can pin into that where that's not going to fall. So yeah, that's genius
Yeah,
too.
it's perfect because it anchors right in. And as I say, even though like you and myself, we've been doing hair for many years, but some of these new artists that are coming out, that's why I love going to hair shows. That's why I
Me too.
love education. That's why I love being an educator. I actually educated an amazing salon today, and it's nice when one of the first times I came in, everybody was excited. They came in, they had pens, they had paper, they had questions. They went,
Right.
they looked, they tried. It was like, wow, okay, you guys are really all about, you know, your craft. And because too, every time you educate, it's going to up you
Yes.
another level. Anytime you can get a wow, it's going to up you another level. And people are wondering about pricing, and that's always the biggest thing about pricing. But for me in pricing, know your area, but also know your value, know your work. Don't compare to anybody else. You do what you do. and you
Right.
charge accordingly to what you need to cover. Just because I charge a certain amount, Lisa charges a certain amount, don't worry about what we charge. Do in comparison to what your work is. If you believe you need more training, then set it at a medium level. And then as you train and you get more and more training, then you can start to up it a little bit. You know, not every updo is going to start at $100. Some updos are
Right.
25, some updos are 50. It depends on your market. It depends if it's a bridal. It depends if it's just somebody going to a party. It depends if it's, you know, for grad or prom or that sort of thing as well. But one thing I'd like to know, what is one of the defining moments that you, Lisa, had personally in your life?
Well, you know what? We're moving so much in my husband's military career. And there was at a point where I thought, I'm just going to give up. You know, I'm going to just stop doing hair. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom and, you know, just do that. And, but I think I just, when my husband retired, I said, I'm going back to work. I just really want to go back to work. And you know what? And then I started periscoping. You know,
Okay, yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's really where I got
Yeah.
started. I started periscoping. The first periscope I did, I got this guy. He was so rude. He said, "Oh, you're so rough. I would never let you put your hands in my hair." And I said, "Well, this is my mannequin, and she doesn't complain very much."
That's right.
And then I thought, "Oh, I
Get
really
those trolls. Get those trolls.
yeah." And I said to myself, "Oh, I really suck at periscoping. I'm not going to do that again." But then I thought, why am I going to let one guy say something to me and then I go, no, I'm going to do it again. You know, and you just got to start to get a really hard, you just got to let it go off. You know what I mean? I always say you can have hard skin, but a soft heart, you know, just don't get the opposite. Don't get a soft skin and then a hard heart. You know, you just want to make sure that you just let that stuff roll, you know. Now I think, those guys get issues. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I think that's really one big issue is that when we're online, we're showing our work on Instagram, we're showing our work on Facebook, we're open to all kinds of criticism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times when these people criticize, they either, number one, don't do hair. They don't know what it takes to do this. They don't know that you practice over and over and over again, because that's how you get it right, by doing it over and over again. So you can perfect that. So if Lisa was to do a show and 100 models, she could replicate that same style on 100 different models or 10 different models, especially if you're doing a lot of stage, a lot of runway, or if you're teaching it over and over. You don't want to teach it one way in one salon and they say, well, we really like it, and now you're teaching it totally different at another salon, the same look. And obviously there's more than one route to get a final result, but as long as you have a breakdown and you have a foundation, but it's the same in life. As long as you stick to your core foundation, and as I say, as we're talking about defining a moment, it's because I think we all come to that point where we just want to give up. It's time to pack it up. Why am I doing this? I keep trying. Nobody likes my work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, a no is a reward, just because every no you're going to get gets rid of that person out of the way that you don't need, to get that person that you do need, that's going to appreciate what you do, that love what you do. Because obviously people love what you do because you have a large following. So they love what you do.
Right.
You know
what? Perseverance is key. You know, you have to have perseverance if you want to be successful, because you're going to have a lot of closed doors. You know what I mean? It's if you persevere to keep trying to open doors, you know what I mean? And sometimes you'll find doors open, but you know, I could have given up and not ever, you know, found this path to being on, you know, on live video or being here with you. And so, you know, it's just that you have to just never give up. Nothing ever ends. You can always have a new beginning, you know, a new start to something. It doesn't have to just be finished. So I just think if you really have a passion for something and it's not working, you keep at it, you know, you keep going. You just found a way that it's not open. You have to just look for another way that's open.
Exactly. And I think from listening to the interview as well, I found that, you know, you created your own opportunities. You had that passion and that fire inside you. You know, you made it happen. You had like, let's teach classes. Let's do this. I'm going to do this. Where most people are like, I can't talk in front of people. I can't be in front of a camera. What if I'm like stumbling and nobody, you know, everybody listening, you've heard me goof up a couple of times already. Don't say you haven't, because you know you have. But it makes us all human. We're all human. We're all imperfect, and that's just the way. But we're all wonderfully and perfectly made. But the thing is, be yourself, and that's the best way on social media. Have a heart connection with your audience. Be real, you know, and say, hey, I tried 100 times. People are like, that's beautiful. Yeah, I tried 100 times. But to me, you really need to be impressive, because if you want to be a celebrity stylist, if you want to be noticed by companies, it doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
It takes a lot of hard work. And the overnight successes, even like Lisa's, they don't know what it takes to get there.
Right.
You know, you didn't just wake up one morning, you got this phone call and said, you know, Lisa, we heard you wanted to be a hairstylist, so we want you to travel the world for us and teach you everything.
Right.
You know, it doesn't really happen like that. And there's so many great artists out there that people think that, oh, well, they're so lucky, they're this, they're that, but they don't know their stories. You know, and that's what the empowerment, you know, we're talking about hairstylist empowerment right now, because everybody does have a story, and everybody has something to share, and everybody has value, and everybody has, you know, some gold, you know, in them. It's just uncovering those nuggets. So if you had some words of wisdom for our audience to empower others, what would it be, Lisa?
Well, you can't just sit back and think, I'll wait for everything to come to me. That's just not how life works, you know? So you really have to go and pursue your, you know, passion. So, you know, I love what Joan Rivers said when they asked her what made you successful. And she said, I was smart enough to walk through every door of opportunity. So that's what you have to do. And sometimes you have to create those opportunities. You know, like I did with starting to do Periscope. And then I started posting my work on some of the forums, and people go, oh, can you show me how you did that? And then I started my first educational video where, you know, where I'm like, okay, so we're going to start doing this. We're going to do Updo Mondays. We're going to call it Updo Mondays. And, you know, I'm going to teach you how I like to do styling. And then it just started to progress from there. And so, you know, but I had to take a risk, right, of putting myself in opportunity to be criticized. And I get dumb stuff, you know, like, oh, you used too many pins. Oh, you know, that took you to, that's never gonna hold, you know, just stuff like that. And you just have to let it just roll off, you know. And I try to say, thank you for the comment, or you're welcome for the education.
That's right.
You know? You know, because they're like, okay, if it's not for you, please just move on, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
But you open up yourself, you have to be able to take it, because it's not easy, but it's very rewarding when you do. You have to take a risk. Yeah. Fear holds people back so much from doing what they really want to do. Fear of failing, you know, and especially I think in this new generation where everybody gets a trophy and everybody's number one and a winner. So I think they're really afraid to fail. I think they don't know how to fail. They don't know how to just deal with that. But the more you're not afraid to fail, and you won't let fear get in your way, you'll go really far in what you want to do in life, you know. But you have to get that out of the way. You know, am I scared when I do things? Sure I am. But I don't let it stop me from doing it. And I think that's key, you know, to anything you do in life.
Exactly. And that's a great point, great advice for all of us. I mean, as I say, if we're not empowering ourselves, and two, it's so tough with social media, I find that we're always compared to other people.
Yes.
They did that and they did that and they could do it so much better, and they can, but the thing is, it's not you. And that's what people really want, is you, you know. Yeah. They like, I may relate to you better than someone else, or I may love Nadine Donovan, or I may love like other people, but we all help and inspire, you know, each other. So basically, I want to say thank you, Lisa, for coming on. And
Oh,
if
thank you.
everybody liked this, please like, share, comment, and tell your friends. So, but if you really like Lisa and what she had to say today, make sure to follow her on social media. So we'll just get you to give everybody the links, so then that way they know where to follow you on Instagram, if you have a website, if you have a Facebook page, and on Mondays, if you have a certain time that you post, or just come Monday and you'll be there.
Okay, well, my training page for Updo Mondays is called The Easy Updo. So you just can go on there and then like, and you have access to the videos. I post now about once a month. And so you just have to keep checking back to see. But usually by the end of the month, I'm going to post a new video. I had to slow down a little bit. You know, we had to make it
Of course,
last a little longer.
Yes.
But my Instagram is Lisa Trebella Hair. And then I have another Facebook, because I wanted stylists to be able to share their work, classes, techniques. And so it's called the Upstyle Showcase. And if you just go in, you can ask to join, because it's a closed group. You can ask to join. And then there, people just show their work, share techniques, videos, class information. And it's a really cool place where you can just go and get inspired too. So those are and you can go to guruvillage.net and you can find our online classes there.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So I thank everyone for joining today. We love you. We want to empower all you hairstylists and barbers and everybody in the beauty industry. And we'll see you next time.